Anyway.
Yeah, so let's move from science to art, because a self-employed plumber from Lichfield who's worked for more than 2 decades in the industry has spoken of his journey into becoming one of Britain's only black glass blowers.
Yes, Christopher Day has produced a series of artwork to help encourage a new narrative about black history and our collective past. Manifa Bob Simon has been to meet him inside the University of Wolverhampton's Hot Shop.
Growing up, Christopher Day always had a burning passion for art. But he never thought he'd go on to be one of Britain's only black glassblowers. Just looking at his artwork, you may see what resembles a slave ship. However, for Chris, it represents so much more. The creations have a focus on black history, and this led him to look back on his own mixed British-Jamaican upbringing.
I'd always grown up with racism. I started to reflect and research about slavery. Everything started to come up. You know, how I was brought up, all the things that were associated with me being mixed race especially, is that I didn't fit into white society, I didn't fit into black society.
Feeling torn between his identity, Chris was spurred on to learn more about past events.
Slavery, the civil rights movement, segregation, the riots that happened in England, you know, all these aspects that affected the whole of society, how can I start talking about them as well?
While studying applied glass and ceramics at the University of Wolverhampton, Chris began creating pieces to encourage discussions about equality. But due to a learning difficulty, he didn't always think entering into higher education would be possible.
Being dyslexic, not being able to fill forms in, not being able to read, is then you're faced with, I'm going to have to study for 3 years, read books and write dissertations. And I was no good at any of that.
Yet he graduated 2 years ago, and his art has since helped spark a discussion about anti-racism.
This conversation's got to be had. So I feel as if I've took this role as of an ambassador of what's happened in history. So what I try and do is I use the beauty of the glass and the material as it's like a magpie effect. As soon as they see something sparkly and shiny, people rush to it to see what it is. And the pieces don't look like black bodies. They've got the forms of something perhaps human in them, but it's more the materials that are around them that are going towards slavery or restriction. And that's what the glass does. It's trying to break free from these copper structures. But now it's the next stage. What can we do to carry this conversation? We don't want it to die.
For Chris, it's not just about keeping the conversation alive, but also to help improve representation.
You know, when I came here, I was looking for artists like myself. I was hoping there'd be somebody here to have a conversation which they'd had the same experience as me growing up, and we could put that into a piece of artwork, but there was nobody. If there's nobody out there, why? And if there isn't, I've got to be that person that can inspire somebody.
And through his hopes of inspiring the next generation, Chris aims to shatter barriers, regardless of background.
These pieces of artwork, they're me. They're totally me. They're a plumbing and heating engineer that's doing glass, telling stories about racism. And that conversation will carry on long once I've gone.
Manifa Bob Simon, ITV News.
They are really beautiful, aren't they, what he creates? And I think when he speaks about not belonging to either the black community or the white community, that really does ring true, doesn't it, for a lot of people?
And so just the way he's able to use his art to make those points as well and start that conversation.
Yeah.
Just brilliant.
Very good.